Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are going to learn about sales forecasting using AI. We will first explore the store sales dataset on Kaggle. We will then use prompt coding on Google Colab Notebook. And finally, we will implement Facebook's forecasting model, Profit. So before we get started, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Deepak Bhattacharya. I have about 10 years of experience into data analytics. Over the last 10 years, I have worked across a variety of data roles and I specialize in the Microsoft tech stack. So with that, let's get started. So Kaggle is an online platform where all the data analysts, aspiring data scientists, can just go and explore the problem statements there. They can download the data and build their own predictive model and submit it. So we are going to look at the time series forecasting store sales problem today. So you can just go search for this and you should land on this page. So once you go here, you will be able to understand what the data is. It has the data description here. So we are looking at the grocery store sales data, which is at a store number, product family, and date level. So if you just keep scrolling, you'll get to know there are different data sets as well. So for this purpose, we'll just keep the model as simple as possible, and we will just use the train data here. So as you can see, the train data has the store number, family, date, and the actual sales, right? So we will just use this. We will not build a very complicated model. And how we will judge whether this model is performing good or not. So we'll evaluate on the metric RMSLE. So root mean squared log error is the criteria which we will be evaluating on. So the lower the RMSLE is, the better the model is, right? So what you need to do is you need to sign up on Kaggle if you haven't already. You just log in, search for this, and once you land onto this page, you will be able to download the files, right? So I've already downloaded the files, and we will be using Google Colab to run all our codes. So Google Colab is nothing but a hosted Jupyter notebook service, right? So everything is online. You don't need to set up everything, locally. And once you go here, you click on new notebook. I've already set up a notebook here. So this is what it looks like. I've just named it sales forecasting using AI. Uh, you can see that I've docked the Gemini prompt on the right side. By default, it is on in the middle. You can dock it here. And so we need to first start by uploading the files which we need for building the model, right? So if you can see here, sample data is already an inbuilt folder. So what I've done is I've already so all these files are already present in this environment. I've uploaded the train.csv. You can click here to upload the files. So once you click on upload, you can just select the file that you need to upload, right? So what we'll be doing next is we will not be writing any single line of code. We will just ask Gemini to create the code for us, and we will just pass it a series of prompts, right? So I'll start off with load .csv on sample data folder. Planning to build profit forecasting on this data set. We process form and visualize the data, pre-process the data. So it is optimized, pre-process the data accordingly. So it is optimized for profit model. I would say evaluate root mean square log error, visualize the results of the model. Okay. So we have passed like multiple prompts to it. So let's see, once we submit it, what it will do is it will convert these into a set of tasks, right? And as you can see, it's already trying to process it, and it will generate the code for each. it will first tell you like what it has understood, right? So as you can see, it totally understood that it needs to first load the data, it needs to then perform the EDA, then it needs to pre-process the data, build and train the model, make predictions, evaluate it, visualize, and just complete the task, right? So what we will do is we can auto run it, so it will just do all the steps at once, but we will just keep some manual intervention and we will run it step by step, right? So once we run step by step, what will happen is it will generate the code, and at each step, it will ask you to whether it should run that code or not, right? So it will not automatically run the cells. It will always wait for your user input, as you can see here, to run that block of code. Okay. So here you can see we are just importing the data, right? So you can see that the data is imported. This is how the preview of the data looks like. It is then proceeding with the next steps. So as you can see, right, behind every task, behind every prompt, there is, it is breaking down into subtasks and there is reasoning involved. So you can always, recalibrate your prompts or, just intervene in middle, right, to change anything. So what it is doing is it is going to analyze missing data, etc., whatever is required for, uh, the EDA process, right? So you see that it has already imported the visualization libraries, right? Matplotlib and cbon. So we'll just accept and run this. So you can see it has printed some stats here. So the count, mean, standard deviation, etc. It has printed as a part of the EDA. Now it is going to attempt to build some visualizations out of it. So as you can see, it is also building like distribution of sales, total sales over time. It is building like different visuals here, right? And now it is going to pre-process the data. So what it is going to do is it is just going to rename the columns. So profit model requires your data to be in, it just requires two columns. DS is the date time column and Y is the sales column. So it is going to just rename that. So we just accept and run it. So here you can see it has renamed it. It has actually aggregated the data, and the data was at store and product family level. We have aggregated at a date level. So for this example, we are just keeping it simple, keeping the model extremely simple, right? Now we have imported the model from this library, and we are going to fit this model. So the simpler the model, the easier, the faster it will be to fit. If you make the model complex, obviously it is going to take some more compute power. The more features you're passing, the more time it will take for the model to train. So I've kept the model extremely simple. That's why it was, it ran very quickly. So what we are going to do is it is going to generate forecasts now. We have given it a period of 365, which is like a period of 1 year. So we will see what those forecasts look like, and it is going to uh, create a lower bound and upper bound, basically what you do in forecasts, right? So let's see. So it has already generated the forecast. Now what we are going to do is we are going to evaluate the root mean square log error. So if you see, it has already computed the RMSLE. It is 0.28. So obviously we are just evaluating on the train data. That's why it's so low. But I just want to keep the example relatively simple because we will be now visualizing the actuals versus predicted. So the train data only has the actuals, right? The test data will never have the actuals, right? So we'll just visualize the results here. So if you see it has inbuilt functions, right? Model.plot, model.plot components. These are like inbuilt functions of that library. So if you see that it has actually generated the forecasts, and you can see at a yearly level, at a uh, weekly level, or at the day of the week level, it is able to generate the visualizations as well. And I've asked it to summarize the key findings. So as you can see that, it gives you a good commentary about that there were about 3 million entries, right? And you can see that the sales column is highly skewed because it has zero entries. Uh, so there will be a lot of stores, lot of product families which will not have any sales, right? So you can see that it has seasonality and the different aspects as well. So once you see this, you can just fine tune your model further. You can just prompt it. You can alter the just keep optimizing it to reduce your RMSLE, etc. So the possibilities are endless, right? So this was just a quick example. Again, the call out is that you should have the basic understanding of what these results mean. How do you go about interpreting the results, and what prompts will you now be doing to optimize this model further, or what should you be doing to optimize your model? So you can just play around with this. I hope this was insightful. Thank you for watching.